the Edmonton Sun for a follow-up article.
I phone them when I believe something is really special and something is really cool and the Edmontonians would like to know that it happened.
Save my soul. He also called the news when U2 came to town. Doug and some fans waited all night for autographs. Doug the groupie got quoted, but he isn't a fan and doesn't know any of their songs.
He knows what it takes to get his face on the newscast and the paper. And yeah, he's a very good manipulator.
I studied photographs of before the Berlin Wall collapsed, and people used to hold up signs and banners. Those signs could not be altered or manipulated by the media itself, you know, because the people that were in those crowds positioned themselves in such a way that they could get noticed.
Some people in the media would say that you're manipulating the media.
I wouldn't say manipulating the media. I would say understanding how to affect the media, like understanding what works and what doesn't work, and that only comes with experience.
But they don't like that.
Well, they don't have to like it. You know, it's a free world.
A person like that can really take the attention away from what's going on at an event.
Sometimes he seems to be in your face.
Glory hound, publicity seeker.
He won't go away.
I don't respect him.
As a journalist, you can't allow people to do that.
The media tried to shut him out, but he began to pop up in the thick of the city's most compelling stories.
The news came this afternoon. The government will not pay for experimental treatment Peter Jiang says he needs to save his life.
Doug Pruden was in the school's gym over the lunch hour for the Push Up for Peter benefit show.
It's frustrating, and especially now that we know who he is and we know that he's taking advantage of us, using us.
35-year-old Constable Don Ogilvie had jumped out of his cruiser and was waving his arms at the speeding vehicle when it picked up speed and headed straight for him.
Doug made a get-well card for the officer, signed by 1,000 students. He called the media.
I don't think he's really altruistically motivated to help people. I believe he's doing it for himself.
Did you want to keep him out of the paper?
Yes. Yes. As I do with the little kids that try and get in the corner of a picture and wave their hands or do this or whatever it is that they want to do. I exclude them as well.
This is Doug offering condolence at the funeral of 2 children killed in a crosswalk. Ironically, the media there called him invasive.
Doug shows up at the funeral and actually approaches the mom, the grieving mom, in the limousine. That's when no one else is doing that kind of thing. He's really starting to stick out.
There have been other instances. For example, the young Japanese boy that fell in Mill Creek and drowned.
Of course, the media were there to cover every emotional detail of a father's search for his son's body. But they kept one member of the search party out of the news.
I saw him again as a publicity seeker there when he was virtually approaching the reporter that I was working with at that time. And I told the reporter about him and said, you know, he's at all of the events. He's a publicity seeker.
But at the funeral, it was Doug's emotional eulogy, given for a child he never met, that was used all over the TV news.
One volunteer spoke for all the people who felt compelled to help this father search for his son's body.
This community, I hope, has made a difference in your lives.
In some of the cases, I will be involved somehow with the family that's being touched by this event.
But you make yourself involved with that family, don't you?
I enjoy helping people.
But is it a bit weird, Doug? Like, is it just a little bit weird?
Is what a little bit weird?
That you go to all these news events? Do you think so?
No, I don't think so. Because it's a free world. It's just simply choosing to do something.
And those that came out today didn't think it was too much to ask.
And the media choose to use Doug for a good picture or a quote when it works. Like the newspaper story in which Doug likened himself to Forrest Gump, always popping up in historical places. He later told me he's never even seen the movie, but the reporter really liked the quote.
My mom has almost given up on me.
Doug gives the media what they want. He's done it 120 times. Whoops, make that 121, counting this story.
Doug hopes he'll be among the lucky ones this year.
What do you think about Doug being on national TV now?
Was he on national TV now?
Well, he will be because of this story.
Because of this story? Well, then he's buffaloed us all, hasn't he?
Interesting.